Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about a drama thriller called Mine from 2016. A lot of interesting things are waiting for you. Enjoy your viewing. The movie introduces us to Mike Stevens. He is a sniper in the US Marine Corps. Later we are shown his friend Tommy Madison. They are on a mission in North Africa. They are tasked with eliminating a terrorist leader, but something goes wrong. The terrorist leader does not arrive at the scene alone. Some people have come to meet him to marry off one of his girls. Mike begins to hesitate because he is not sure that this is the right person for them. Meanwhile, the command insists on eliminating the target, but Mike disobeys the order and doesn't shoot. A bride and groom are in the crosshairs, and when they step aside, Mike can't recognize the target. He thinks it might be another person. Mike raises his rifle to respond to Tommy's words. At this point, his scope glares in the sun. This mistake is noticed by the terrorists' guards. They immediately open fire and the partners have to quickly get out of their position. Thanks to the sandstorm, they escape the firefight and remain alive. Mike and Tommy contact their commanders, and they direct them to an evacuation point in a neighboring village, which is a few kilometers from their location. On the way, it turns out that Tommy has a little boy waiting for him at home, and Mike has had a girlfriend for a long time, to whom he has not dared to propose. A sandstorm has blown down a sign warning that there are mines in the area, and the wind brought this sign under Mike's feet. He also finds a toy soldier in the sand. However, Tommy decides that this is an old sign and should not pay attention to it. When the friends cross another plane, Tommy fails to notice a landmine and blows himself up. Meanwhile, Mike, trying to save him, steps on another mine. He hears the click of the detonator and stops abruptly. Tommy's legs are blown off. He is covered in blood and does not understand anything. Mike persuades him to inject morphine so that Tommy can reach his backpack with the radio. He does so. Despite this, the explosion leaves Tommy in painful shock. He is unable to think clearly and reasonably, and that is why he is unable to call for help. Unable to bear the suffering, Tommy asks Mike to survive and tell his son that Tommy loved him. After saying this, Tommy shoots himself in the head. Mike is desperate. He makes a hitch out of shoelaces, an axe, and a sniper rifle strap, which he uses to drag his backpack with a radio. However, the radio's batteries are dead, and the spare batteries are in Tommy's breast pocket. He connects the radio to a solar panel to recharge it. When the radio recharges and turns on, Mike finally manages to contact his superiors and report the situation. The command informs him that it will take 52 hours to evacuate Mike. The fact is that the military got into a heavy firefight, so they cannot arrive at the evacuation site. Hearing these words, Mike immediately sets a countdown on his watch and prepares to wait. He's running out of water and has little food left, but that's not the main problem. The main problem is that another sandstorm is coming from the desert. Mike hurriedly wraps his face in a protective cloth, leans one side of his body against the rifle stuck in the sand, and holds his backpack with a radio with the other hand. But the sandstorm is too strong. He loses his backpack, and as the sand moves closer, Mike discovers Tommy's body next to him. From his pocket, Mike takes out spare batteries. Meanwhile, the man has run out of water. The sun is baking mercilessly. Mike loses his last hope. He pulls out his gun and fires several times into the air, then holds the barrel to his head. At that moment, a local Berber man appears. Mike asks him to bring water and to hand him a walkie-talkie from his backpack. After laughing at Mike's situation, the Berber leaves. Seeing no other way out, Mike urinates in a bowl and is ready to drink it. But a little girl appears from behind the hill with a flask of water. She gives the water to Mike and shows him a toy soldier similar to the one Mike found in the desert. Mike asks her to bring him a walkie-talkie, but the girl runs away in silence. A long, cold night is approaching. Mike's strength is already leaving him. If he falls asleep or falls down from fatigue, the mine will explode. So he makes a fire out of dry twigs nearby and tries to keep warm. In the middle of the night, when it is dark, the cries of predators can be heard in the deafening silence. They do not let Mike sleep. Even when the fire of the small campfire has gone out, Mike starts shooting back and even kills a few predators. Then he lights a flashlight and sees Tommy's body, which had been lying next to him all this time, being dragged away by hungry animals into the darkness. Mike is visited by visions. He sees memories from his childhood, how his father beat his mother. Mike even tries to fight with his imaginary father. The morning comes. Mike can barely stand up because he is tired. The Berber comes to him again. He tells him that Mike is lucky because he survived the night with the predators and hasn't hit a mine yet. He tells him that Mike has to free himself. To do that, he needs to step up and move forward. But Mike takes this as a mockery. They have a short conversation. Mike asks the Berber to bring him a walkie-talkie. The man, having finished philosophizing, fulfills the request and then walks away. The hours pass too slowly. Mike is once again experiencing hallucinations. He sees the past, and it seems to him that Tommy is alive. He got up from the sand and started talking to Mike. Meanwhile, a new cold and dark night comes, but this time Mike has no fire and no strength to fight the predators. The animals are slowly coming out of the darkness. Mike slowly shoots back until he runs out of bullets in his gun. Then the predators rush at him. They tear at his body with their teeth. Mike's consciousness again throws him a vision from the past, how he stood up for a waitress in a bar and overcame 4 big men. And after that, this waitress would later become his girlfriend. When Mike wakes up, he realizes that he has stabbed all the jackals who were trying to eat him. Imaginary Tommy was with Mike all night. In the morning, the command spoke again on the radio. They said that the military was delayed and would be there only in 17 hours. In despair, Mike threw away the watch he was using to keep track of time. Until the rescuers arrived, he thought he was talking to Jenny, his girlfriend. He apologized to her, told her he loved her, and began to pass out. But a Berber who suddenly appeared kept him on his feet. The Berber treated Mike's wounds left by the predators and told him to hang in there because he was lucky to be alive. The Berber and Mike started a new conversation. During the conversation, Mike learns that the Berber himself had once been hit by a mine. He and his daughter dug them up and sold them to the guerrillas. Instead of mines, his daughter used to place cans on the detonators. On one of those days, a mine went off and the Berber's daughter was killed, and he lost his leg. Now he has a wooden prosthesis instead of his leg. Berber said that it was he who brought Mike water, and the girl was his daughter, and he actually just imagined her. He also said that after his leg was amputated, he did not want to live. But in a moment of extreme despair, he realized he had to move on. Now he has a wife and 2 children. The man made it clear that Mike also has to become free, has to move forward. He gives Mike a drink, warning him that he will have visions, but then everything will be fine. Then the Berber walks away, leaving Mike exhausted and at the mercy of his hallucinations. Mike sees his drunken father beating his mother again, and then beating him. He tries to resist, but the scene changes. He is transported to the day he met the woman. Mike fights with the Rangers, then sees them telling him that he is becoming like his father. Jenny expects him to propose marriage, but Mike doesn't notice. He runs away from the conversation about marriage. In his visions, he sees his dying mother in a hospital bed. Mike's hallucinations are interrupted by the voices of the military on the radio. They are driving a few kilometers away. The military is ready to take him away, but he has to give a signal. However, in order to reach the smoke grenade, Mike needs to step off the mine. He is afraid to take this step. Mike hesitates, and the soldiers are moving further away. They can't stay because of the terrorists. Mike is shot at the very moment he was ready to give the signal. He is surrounded by people with guns, but Mike is not ready to surrender yet. He fires back with a sniper rifle. Mike kills them one by one until he runs out of ammunition. Finally, a vision of his father appears in the sand. He slowly approaches. A very familiar smile appears on his face. Mike pulls a gun on him, but he is unable to fire the bullet. Through these visions of his past, Mike realizes that he is ready to forgive his father. Mike puts the gun down, and the father comes over and hugs his son. He tells him to go ahead. The hallucinations disappear. Mike sees the military vehicles driving away. He dares to take a step forward, taking a smoke grenade. Mike steps off the mine, but it does not explode. He has not yet realized what has happened. Mike carefully digs out the mine and finds instead a tin can left by the Berber's daughter and a toy soldier in the tin can. Wounded and bloody, Mike cries with happiness. He falls on the sand and lights a smoke bomb. The military notices him. Red smoke rises over the desert, and sappers cautiously approach him. They finally take him out of the minefield, revive him, and send him home. At the airport, Mike and other soldiers go to see their families. A toy soldier hangs from a chain around his neck. Berber's daughter left this toy in the jar that saved his life. In the crowd of greeters, Mike notices Jenny. She is happy that her beloved has returned unharmed. She wants to hug Mike, but he stops a step away from the girl. He looks her in the eyes and gets down on one knee. Finally, Mike decides to propose marriage to his beloved. The movie ends with this wonderful moment. Thank you for watching to the end. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klontsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.